Hello from summertime in Vermont. It's not really officially summer yet, but it is strawberry season, which makes it feel like summer has begun. And I do think summer must be starting next week because we're getting late in July. So we went strawberry picking and I am going to make strawberry jam. I actually made a triple recipe by the time I was done, but this you're seeing here is going to be just a double recipe, which if you are buying these pints or picking these pints, about 3 of them is one recipe of jam. On the back of my pectin box, which I use Pomona's pectin, which allows you to use less sugar. So I do use the minimum amount of sugar, and I use coconut sugar so that it is even less sweet. But these strawberries are so sweet that they don't need a lot of sugar. And the coconut sugar, I ended up loving the result because it became this deep, almost like a balsamic strawberry jam color, but there is no balsamic vinegar. So I have my strawberries mashed up, and you missed it because I didn't push record, but I did add calcium water to this warming strawberry mixture. And now I am getting my coconut sugar and pectin stirred together. Oops, I put it into the jam, into the strawberries. It's not jam yet, which you don't want to do. You want to mix it into the sugar thoroughly first, otherwise it is going to be a clumpy mess, a clumpy gelled mess in those little spots. So I'm going to scoop this off the top here and then add an extra teaspoon into my coconut sugar so I have the right amount of pectin. So as this comes to a boil, I'm getting all this other stuff ready. If you've canned before, this is very straightforward. If you haven't canned before, starting with jam is so easy. This is where I started with canning, especially with an acidic fruit like strawberries. You don't need to add anything extra like lemon juice to make it a safe water bath canning process. All you need is the strawberries, some sweetener, and some pectin. And I'm going to get this, once that comes to a full boil, I'm going to get this coconut sugar into the pan. I have made jam with coconut sugar. I've made it with regular sugar. I mostly in the past have used honey to sweeten jam, but so coconut sugar is kind of newer to me, but you really can use any kind of sweetener. That is not part of the safety process. It is sometimes part of the gelling process, but when you have pectin, you don't need as much sugar. So now that that's come to a boil, I added my sugar and pectin mixture into the pot, and I'm going to bring it back to a boil, and then this jam is done. I could put it in jars and put it in the refrigerator and eat it all, or freeze it. In my case, I'm going to water bath can it because I don't have a lot of room in my freezers. So I'm getting my jars ready, and I will put this in with the appropriate amount of headspace, which is 1/4 inch for jam, and get this into the water bath canner. I didn't really plan to make this jam as soon as I brought the strawberries home, but I did end up doing that. I kind of just did this before dinner. Before I made dinner, it's really a quick process, especially once you've done it a couple times and you're not having to, really read directions a lot. It can really fit into your day to do a little bit of jam making. So this is a double batch, and it made 8 little half-pint jars, plus I had a little extra in this bigger jar that went into my refrigerator. I did end up making, the next day I still had a lot of strawberries. I made some muffins. The kids ate strawberries, and then I still had a lot of strawberries, so I did another single batch, so another 4 or 5 jars or so of the half-pint size. So now I have a lot of strawberry jam, which is great because I think it might be everybody's favorite. Now I just need to clean the rims of these jars to ensure a good seal. And then I'll put the lids and the rings on, and these are hot, so I'm putting hot water into my water bath canner, and I can put these jars right into that as I'm filling it up so I can see how much water I need. once this comes to a rolling boil, I will keep the lid on. This is my pressure canner. I'm not sealing it. It just keeps it at a nice heavy boil, and I will time that for 10 minutes. Once that timer goes off, I turn it off and let it sit for another 5 minutes just to kind of cool down the tiniest bit before taking my jars out, and I'll let these sit on the counter overnight before taking the rings off for storage. Thank you so much for being here. I'll leave the recipe that I used down in the description box, and I look forward to seeing you next time.